Hey everyone, Paul Johnson, Waconia, Minnesota, and the Laughing Trout Fly Tying Club. Today I'm going to be tying my Double Wing Trude. So this fly started a few years ago when my daughter Holly and I were fishing in Yellowstone with Walter Weesey from Parks Fly Shop. Walter was fishing primarily with Holly that day, and he had a prototype fly, which is now his synth Double Wing. Holly caught a lot of fish that day, so I kind of tried to copy what Walter had tied, went back to the motel room that night, and this is what I came up with. The version really isn't anywhere close to what Walter had tied, but it's always worked really well for me. So it's tied on a size 12 1XL long dry fly hook. It's got a shuck of Z yarn, Montana Fly Company Z yarn in amber. The abdomen is dubbing. It's primarily ice dub, peacock ice dub, and some other dubbing mixed in there. And it does have some grizzly hackle wrapped around that. The underwing is some bleached deer hair. The overwing is Congo hair, white Congo hair from Fly Tyer's Dungeon. The thorax has got some green crystal dub in there, and then wrapping of brown hackle around that. So let's get started. Put that size 12 1XL long hook in my vise. For thread, I've got some 14-aught in dark brown. I like this thread. It's strong enough that it's surprising that it can tie in that deer hair and that Congo hair for the overwing. The tail is mentioned that Z yarn. Any similar product would work, but I really like the brightness of the Z yarn from Montana Fly Company. I think it's just got a great sheen to it. So tie that in. Want it to stay right on top of the hook shank, and we're going to pull it, and we're going to cut it to maybe about 3/4 of a hook shank in length. It'll curl back just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to tie in my rooster hackle. That'll be the ribbing around there. And so a size 12 hook, and I'm actually using a size 18 feather here. And we'll just add some dubbing. So I just take, like I said, primarily that peacock ice dub, UV ice dub, a couple other dark browns and blacks. Put them in a coffee grinder and grind it up, and I apologize for bumping my camera there. And you don't need to worry about making this thing look like a nice smooth mayfly body. We want it to be kind of buggy. Okay, and we want to make sure we stop right at that 75% spot on our hook. We don't want to go too far because we got a lot of wing materials to tie in there. So just get that a little bit further. You can see pretty buggy, pretty shaggy. And that's another reason why I use that size 18 hackle, is wrapping it around a pretty robust body already. If you're wrapping it just around the hook shank, it would be totally different. Just even spaced wraps. Tie that off. And cut off that excess. Bump the camera again. Okay, I cleaned and stacked some deer hair. This is bleached deer hair. Start with a little bit less till you get a feel for how much you can add in there. It's easy to get way too much hair and makes it really miserable to tie this in. So a couple loose wraps, pull it tight, and then I'll lift up, make some good wraps in there. And then kind of come in at a shallow angle and cut all those butt ends out of there. Couple on the back side here to get rid of. Trim it as tight as you can. Looks like I got 2 more to get rid of. All right, so what I like to do now is get a hold of those tips, hair tips, and hold them in place. Get rid of this little bit of right here. And then wrap that down. All right. Next, I got a length of that white Congo hair, And what this really does is, if you're fishing some broken water, it really helps, at least me, that white. I can see that really well in that broken water. So I'm going to trim this off a little bit longer than the deer hair wing. And then I'm going to come in at a shallow angle again and cut it off in the front. And then wrap that down as good as we can. Got to get over this little bit of a bump right there. All right. All right, so now I've got that brown hackle feather. Again, this is a size 18 feather for a size 12 hook, because we just got a lot of bulk right there in the front that we got to work around, and it's going to make the feather stick out a lot further anyway. Just a little bit of that green crystal dub. You can really use any color here. I just always like this green. What this does, I think, more than anything, is it gives that feather something to bite into, because we're wrapping it down that kind of that slope or that slanted head. So I'll get 3-4 wraps of this hackle right down to the eye. Secure that with my tying thread. Crowded my eye just a little bit here. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to hang my thread behind the adjustment knob on my Renzetti vise. Come in here and cut that excess feather off and just push it all back a little bit with my thumbnail. There, that should do it. And then you could do whip finish, or I like to just do a couple half hitches. Secure those in there, and you can kind of pull it back. And if you have too much material on the eye of the hook, kind of clears that out a little bit. Cut my tying thread. And there we have it, Double Wing Trude. This thing floats well, can easily float a size 14 tungsten beadhead fly. Works good for a dry dropper. I want to use it just as an indicator. It'll float anything, with a little bit different look than a foam hopper or something like that. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.